And I'm a little dismayed that I didn't receive one question on the deaths that we got in this country this weekend. I didn't receive one question about New York City shootings doubling for the third straight week, and over the last 7 days, shootings skyrocket by 142%. Not one question.
All right, that was Kayleigh McEnany there, the White House press secretary, scolding reporters at yesterday's briefing for failing to ask a single question about the gun violence happening across the nation over the holiday weekend. At least 6 children were killed. President Trump is now offering to step in and provide federal assistance if needed. Joining us now, Acting Homeland Security Secretary Chad Wolf. Mr. Secretary, good morning, and thanks for being here this morning. So in what way can and would the president be willing to step in and offer that federal help?
Well, I think it's important to note this really starts with the local police, local law enforcement, state law enforcement, and then the federal law enforcement is there as a third level backup, if you will. What we've seen is we need to make sure that the state and the local officials are asking for that help, that they're doing all they can to support law enforcement. And when they can't, they ask for that help. What we saw with Governor Kemp in Georgia is called in the National Guard to parts of Atlanta. And so we need others to step up and take that action as well. And then the president's been very clear. We
got a lot of breaking news to get to. We want to start in Brazil. The country's president, President Bolsonaro, has tested positive, we just learned in the last hour, for coronavirus. This diagnosis, of course, comes after months of Bolsonaro dismissing and mocking, really, the seriousness of the coronavirus, calling it something like a little flu, much like President Trump has done when it comes to COVID-19. CNN's Bill Weir is in Sao Paulo. He's following all of this for us. He's joining me now. Bill, what more are you hearing?
Well, we're hearing a lot more of the president's words after he broke news in a little press gaggle in front of the palace. He did give an interview to CNN Brazil, and he talked about the fact that given the symptoms, it started Sunday with a certain indisposition, as he describes it, aggravated through Monday. He had a fever, and given the symptoms, the medical team decided to apply hydroxychloroquine. I took it yesterday about 5 o'clock. At 5 a.m., I took the second dose, and I confess I feel perfectly well. I have to admit, I thought I had gotten COVID-19 earlier, considering my...
We had that breaking news out of Brazil. NBC News chief global correspondent Bill Neely joining me now. Bill, you were just there in May. You reported extensively in Brazil. You were trying to alert us and the rest of the world to what you were seeing. And now the president, Bolsonaro, a close Trump ally, testing positive.
Yes, and I think since Boris Johnson tested positive and he was in intensive care, and of course now he is okay, I think this is the most high-profile leader in the world to test positive. And how ironic that it is Jair Bolsonaro, a man who right from the very beginning has downplayed the virus. He called it a cold or a little flu, and now he has tested positive. Interestingly, he made the announcement in the classic Bolsonaro way. He was actually wearing a mask, something he doesn't normally do, but he said to the assembled press corps in Brasilia, I'm well normal. I even want to take a walk around here, but I can't due to medical recommendations. It started off that he had a fever. Then on Monday, yesterday, he told Brazilians that his lungs...
As the country reopens, officials are desperately reminding Americans that the deadly coronavirus is still a real issue.
June is a really sort of pivotal moment because before this month, we were sort of seeing decreases taking place across the country. Now, if you look at a map of cases, you see completely lighting up.
But for many, the urgency of a just cause trumps the demand for social distance.
I feel like change is gonna come. Whether I'm sick, I'm still gonna come out here because change will come.
If they want 19,000 supporters packed into that convention hall in North Carolina.
Las Vegas is back after an 11-week slumber.
So I think from a pandemic perspective, I think people feel more comfortable than they did last week.
In Washington, D.C., the largest crowds yet. Tens of thousands of people marching from the Capitol.
Demonstrators like Samantha Law handing out masks and hand sanitizer.
Mask, gloves.
We are concerned that those protests may have increase the spread of the virus.
Arizona's health department urging hospitals to activate their emergency plans. More than 5,000 new cases since June 1st.
The number of coronavirus cases in the U.S. passed the 2 million mark overnight. Among them are some National Guard members who were deployed during the recent protests.
The issue of physical separation is important. Masks can help, but it's masks plus physical separation. And when you get congregations like we saw with the demonstrations, that's taking a risk.
Since Memorial Day, Texas has seen a 30